Welcome back for episode 13, and we have a doozy today. One of my greatest mentors is Carlos Gurman. This man's on the top 125 in Success Magazine, has been deemed Forbes Real Estate Ninja, and he is a mentor and help to so many people. Please welcome to the show, Carlos Gurman. What's happening?
Up? Hey, James. How's it going, man? Excited to be here with you. Always great hanging out with you, spending time and adding value to people's lives. So super pumped.
100%, man. I'm excited to have you here. And, just a lot of the things that have happened over the last 18 months, you've been a huge inspiration to help me in my growth. And I'm excited to see what you'll bring for this particular niche of let's break people through, right? Like if we can get to 100,000, we know we can get to 500,000, but we got to get through those obstacles and those hurdles that come in that growth mode, just getting off the ground. There's a lot of mental things that come and also learning things that come.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love this format because a lot of what I talk about is based on my own personal story. And, I struggled mightily when I started. Like I was that agent that didn't know what to do, that didn't know how to get to 100K. And we all want to get to 100K because, that's the number. It's like, how much you want to make? 100,000, that's the number when you start. And I was that agent and I broke through. I did break through, and obviously now things are amazing. And people look at it and they think, I have some superhuman powers, but no, we're all in this boat with the same amount of opportunity. We may be starting in different starting lines. Like I started living in an empty apartment. I racked up $13,000 in credit card debt, within 6 months of being in real estate, for a guy that had never had any debt. So literally that was attributed to the business. And, I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have a roadmap. And, I started from that starting line. And even a guy like me, I was able to put the pieces together and get to that 100K and now way beyond. So, yeah.
I think that's going to provide a really great segue. And it's all like your story really resonates with me and so many people. So let's talk about that obstacle. Like what was your entry and what were the barriers to get there and what were the things that you came across? And then most importantly, where did that shift come? Like what was that? What turned to really unlock you?
Yeah. So, imagine you being dropped out of a helicopter into a brand new market. You got no database, no money, no mentorship, and you speak like this. You have an accent, you know the industry, and you're 21 years old, right? So all the excuses could have been made, right? I'm too young, don't have the money, don't know what to do, don't have the mentorship, don't have a database, don't know anybody in the market, have no real estate experience, no family of real estate. Like I could have made any and every way excuse I could possible. So that was that starting line. I got to the United States when I was 15. I didn't even know the language. I learned English, finishing my high school. I used to live in Maine, which, as you guys know, is the frozen tundra. And Maine was a big transition for me coming from Dominican Republic, where I'm originally from. So, yeah, that was kind of where my foundation was. Now, I had one thing. I had one important thing, and that is I have work ethic. Like everything I set my mind to, I give it all I've got. And in real estate, it was no different, and I've had agents. Now, if you have the mentorship, the coaching, if you're watching content like this, you're way ahead of where I was. Okay, so don't take me wrong. I have agents that now are part of my team that are doing it part-time and are exceeding the levels way farther than, of how I started. So you can do this part-time, but I don't know how to do anything part-time. Okay. So for me, I had to do it full-time. So, I moved from Maine to Orlando and I decided to, get into real estate, living in an empty apartment. I didn't even have money to connect the hot water because it was gas. I was like, well, I have electricity, I have water. I don't have money for the heat, and even the internet was a scarce resource. So I just went in all out and learning. So what was the first thing I learned? It was the market, because I didn't know the market. I didn't know the community. I didn't know what the product was. And if you want to start somewhere, James, that's the first principle of selling anything. You have to know your product. So a lot of people want to sell real estate and they don't know their product. And they think they might know a little bit of the product and they don't need to do their homework, or they've been living there. I'll tell you, I learned my market better than people that were living there for years within my first year. Okay. So that was kind of my education. And I paid hard for that education, because with all that hard work, all that hustle, all that education of the market, full time, all out, I only sold 3 houses my first year. So hard work alone doesn't cut it. that's for sure. But I don't know how deep you want me to go into this. If you wanna, because I can
We'll keep going.
I can crush all your questions in one whole presentation, and then you're gonna be like, "Well, you already answered all my questions." But no, the main thing for me was, there was one thing I was lacking and I didn't know at the time, and that's the one thing that makes the whole difference. Like, if you're starting today and you're like, how do I get to 100,000K the fastest? Okay. Not the slow way, the way I did it, because, it took me 3 years, because, I did it the slow way. But knowing what I know now, I know what I did, because I wasn't making, like, my second year, I probably made like 40,000, maybe 30. I don't even know. So really, everything happened for me my third year, and I made like 150,000 that year. So it was like a huge jump. So if
Yeah.
you want to know how that huge jump came, and I don't even think it was a compound effect. Sure, I had learned the market and everything, but I feel like I was struggling those first 2 years, and really all the magic happened on that third, because I found one thing, and that one thing was mentorship. Okay, I found the proven way, because here's the thing: you can put a ton of work, you can put a ton of hustle. Again, one of the thing I had was work ethic, and I know a lot of you guys watching this have the work ethic. You're putting in the time to watch this content, and you probably are somebody that takes action. And you're probably somebody that commits, and that's very, very powerful with this formula. But you can do all that and still be going in the wrong direction. And then you get there and you're like, uh-oh, I've been running 1,000 miles per hour, but I'm in the whole wrong location, right? So that changed everything for me, because in my third year, I found the proven way. I found the pieces of the puzzle. And when I found that piece of the puzzle and I worked hard on that, it lit up my business like, you can't even imagine. That's how, it all started taking off.
I love it. I love it, man. And like you broke down one thing inside of there I think is so important. And it was like you had to connect two dots. Like you were young in a
Mhm,
market that you didn't know. So you had to build rapport. And
mhm.
there's one thing, that when you start young in this business, there is something that you have to overcome there. And that's that, like, you walk into a house, you're gonna help somebody sell a $400,000 house, and you're a kid. And when they first see you, your first impression is that you're a kid. You overcame that by your knowledge. It cannot be undenied, right? When you
Yeah.
walked in, you were going to win that conversation over any other agent they have spoken to, because you knew the numbers, you knew the market, you knew your product. I think that's like that was a writer downer for me, and that's really the basis for where all of this comes from, because you have to know what you're selling.
Absolutely, absolutely. And for me, one thing that I realized early on was that I needed to be the whiz kid, right? Like, I was young, so I and I'm an introvert, so like I can go into a room and win somebody because I'm charming and I can connect very well, or like I don't have that going for me. And 80% of agents actually have that. Like 80% of real estate agents are like I personalities that make friends and influence people and all that stuff. I wasn't that person. So, tack another check mark on this guy is not going to make it, line. And, but, knowledge is power. And you're absolutely right, James. Like I leverage knowledge, to the point where every time I had an appointment to go out and show a property or meet with the seller, I would actually go and do that appointment without them the day prior. So, like I would go to the community, I would drive around, I would see what's for sale there, I would see the amenities, I would see, the benefits, because again, like I didn't know most of these communities. So I would literally just, map out. And if it was a gated community, I would make sure the guard knew I was going to come the next day. I was like, hey man, I'm coming next tomorrow with a client of mine. I'm just getting started in real estate. It would be great if you, greet me well and make me look like a rock star. And like, oh yeah, awesome. You need to understand these are guards that don't get, the time of day from most people that pass by that door, and they want to help people, and they're like, oh man, we'll help you. Absolutely. So then I would show up, and I would pull up with my clients like, Carlos, hey, how's it going, man? Good to see you again. Now my client's like, whoa, this guy is selling. This guy is doing good, and that was kind of a strategy based on a pillar that I leveraged early on that is very important, and that is positioning. Okay, so if I'm going to give you, the pieces of the puzzle on how to get to 100,000, and what I would do, like I would erase my first 2 years because I was doing it all wrong. Okay, my third year, what I did was I positioned myself as an expert advisor, okay, in my marketplace. And that marketplace was strategic. Okay, I decided to strategically target a niche, which actually was one community. It was a big community, 2,200 acre community, golf community, desirable in my market. I focus on that community. Now, I do what's hard. Like nobody wanted to target that community because the builder was still selling there. They had a lot of momentum. They were not paying realtors. Okay, so just imagine, right? Like nobody wanted to market that community. It's like, why would I market that? They're not gonna pay me on the houses that they're selling. And I was like, well, let me see, what I can come up with here. And by the way, the builder had a resale division. So it's not only selling new construction, but they had a resale division, and they didn't put the properties in the MLS. So they were selling new construction. They had a resale division selling the resale. So who do the owners want to sell with? Well, they want to sell with the builder because they have the most traffic. They're, the ones that have all the buyers coming today to buy the new homes. And then if they don't want the new home, well, here's our inventory of resales. And they were crushing it. So granted, while all their agents saw that as a challenge, I was like, there's got to be an opportunity there. I'll become an expert in that community and I'll get to the buyer before the builder does.
Yep.
Okay. And then, I will take that buyer and create a relationship with that buyer where I will go to the builder and sell their inventory, but the buyer is going to pay me.
Yep.
Because I'm going to negotiate a better deal than if they went alone. And I'll prove that to them based on, public record data that, the buyer is walking into the lion's den, they're walking into the seller's house with no leverage and no representation. Right. So I started kind of, working with that. I created a website, I started marketing, I started generating leads. And sure enough, I started, making sales. And, I sold 29 transactions that third year, focus on that. So, the lesson here is don't be King Kong in an ocean, okay? Because you're going to drown. Like King Kong in the middle of the ocean, this guy's no leverage. But you can be King Kong in a puddle, Okay, so find your portal, and there's so many portals out there that you can pound and pound and pound. Okay, and that's what I found. I found my niche, I found my portal, and I went in and I was King Kong in that portal. And from there, with that strategy, then I scaled up my business, and I did the same thing in other markets, in other areas in my general location. And that's how then I grew to 100 plus sales, and now 200 plus sales a year.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I want to make sure everybody watching, like, if you have any questions you want to ask Carlos, we'll get to those at the end, but drop those in the comments. And that's going to lead us into the big question, which I feel like you've already hit on like 5 different things, but we're going to go into it. If you get to take all of the knowledge that you've learned up to this point, right? And
Mhm.
if we did the same thing, we helicopter dropped you, you parachuted in, what would you do to get from 0 to 100,000 as fast as possible on a second go?
Absolutely. Well, the first thing is going to be my positioning. So I'm going to position myself as an expert advisor with, a nice website, which now are super cheap, by the way. You can get a website with a couple $100 and look like a rock star, look like an expert. I even got a 1-800 number when I started out, which is like $8 a month. I created a call flow, let's call it, where they used to call into my number, and they used to hear like, hey, for listings press 1, for buyers press 2, if you're in a transaction with us press 3. Well, all the calls were going to me. I was handling every department, but at the end of the day, it was a positioning strategy to make my presence look bigger, so putting those pieces together, because I wanted to create authority and create trust with that client. So you want to also position yourself as a person of value. Okay, so you find that niche and you create value for that niche. What are some free things you can give to people? What are some unique things that you can offer that Zillow and the big portals can't offer, because they are focused on the larger scale? They don't know the community like you know the community. Okay, so I would do that first, because here's the thing: if you start generating clients and then they land on a landing page, let's call it, they land into your business, and then you have no authority, you're adding no value, and you're not building trust, they're just gonna go right the way they came. So don't spend money on lead generation or efforts on lead generation until you have a good mousetrap. Okay, you got to have a good mousetrap with nice, good cheese in there, and do not show your whiskers. Right? You want to be kind of in the corner, seeing them, go and grab the cheese, and then you're like, okay, they're loving the value, and then you're like, boom, these clients are mine. So that's pillar number one. Once you have that set up, then pillar number 2 is going to be your lead generation. If you're not in front of people, you're not going to sell anything. I mean, you could have the best authority, the best positioning, the world class everything. And by the way, a lot of people die in that pillar. Like they go and they create their marketing, their branding, their stuff, and they never go to the next step, which is the lead generation, putting that in front of people. Okay, so you need to be real with yourself. If you've been designing your business card for 2 months already, yeah, you're taking too long. You're screwing up. Okay, this is stuff that done is better than perfect. You want to get stuff done. Align yourself as an authority, but it doesn't need to be like all perfectly the best thing in the world kind of thing. It just needs to be done. Okay, you just need to have that present. So then driving that traffic is simple. You're gonna decide one of 2 things. You're either gonna build an audience or you're gonna buy an audience.
Yep.
Okay, I had no money, so I had to build the audience. Okay, so you decide. Here's the thing: if you decide to market, you're paying because you didn't build that audience, somebody else did. Like Facebook, they have an audience. They're driving people to their website, they own it on a daily basis to be connected and be entertained. Okay, so you decide. If you don't have the power to do that for people, then you go pay the people that are doing it. You pay Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, because they're putting in the work to drive people to a place where they're adding value, right? And they're getting what they want. So I decided to do that for my niche. I decided to add value, create an audience, be in front of that audience by doing blog content, like articles. Back then nobody was doing videos or anything. You could have. I mean, I guess. I don't even know if smartphones were a thing. Now, I've been in the industry for 16 years. It's amazing to think that, I mean, the iPhone didn't even exist, like 16 years ago. So really, this is a whole new ball game. Like, you can do video now, you can do so many awesome things. So you just want to do content. I started creating a lot of articles and content and guides for people in that community, so that before they said, maybe I should buy, they were thinking about, is this even a good place to buy in? Remember, I wanted to capture the buyers before they got to the builder. So I was doing content that would come up in the search engines because buyers were researching the community, and they wanted to see if they could even trust that builder. And everybody does their homework, so they would land into me. And guess what? Sometimes those buyers didn't even have the money to buy in that community, and I would sell them somewhere else. So
Yep.
it worked, both ways. So that pillar of content and value is key to drive traffic to your authority and presence. Then, the third piece of the puzzle is you got to have good systems. Okay. So, for me, I would do that probably, James, in the first couple months. Like, obviously, I would probably take one whole month identifying the community and the niche. That's probably the biggest decision. Like, if somebody gave you a saw to cut a tree, you want to make sure that saw is very well sharpened first. You probably spend 4 hours sharpening that saw before you go cutting, instead of just going cutting, right? So to me, that research and development phase is very, very powerful, and I would spend a lot of time on that. Before McDonald's opens in a market or Walmart opens in a market, they do a ton of research and development. Like, sometimes it takes them a year to find out if that place is right for the taking. And sometimes they're like, we're like 99% there, but we got to wait another 1%. And then we go, so you want to do the same. Do your research, find the right niche. And I say niche because it doesn't have to be a community. It could be veterans. It could be first-time home buyers, vacation homeowners, Airbnb. The trend is so hot with Airbnbs right now. I'll probably do that one. Thinking about it, I'll probably do some research. I would probably go and start targeting people that want to buy Airbnbs and make money with Airbnbs. I would probably become the person that connects people to Airbnbs. And that goes with my current market, so I'm biased. Like, I grew my market from the one community I was on to now, I specialize in selling homes near Disney World. So that's like my main specialty. So we sell a lot of vacation homes and investment properties. So really, it's, Airbnbs before Airbnb even existed. We
Yep.
were selling these vacation homes. So I would do that. And then I would have good systems, because you start getting lead generation, and then you got to have a good system of follow-up. Okay. And that would be the thing that I would do. Now, I'm telling you these things because he asked me, with the knowledge that you have.
Yep.
Okay. That's what he asked me, with the knowledge that I have. But if I didn't have the knowledge, the number one step would be finding the knowledge. I would find a mentor. I would find a community to plug into. I would find a peer group that was trying to accomplish the same things that I was trying to accomplish, to mastermind with and move faster,
Yep.
which is what I didn't do the first 2 years. By my third year, that's what I figured out. There were people that were doing this. There were people that had done what I wanted to do, and I just needed to be around them more often.
That's fire right there. I mean, it's the catalyst, and it's something. The main reason for this show is that is that I've witnessed it. I've seen it. People need mentorship. Like if you don't know, you don't know. And I'm sure you've seen this in the past. People guard their secrets. They
Yeah.
guard, like, it's coveted where, like, you can't get in here, you can't know what it is. And it changed my life, right? Just being around a culture of abundance where things shifted took me from 26 sales to 92
Mhm.
in
Yeah.
12 months. Like that was exactly what it did.
Yep.
So I like how you answered it both ways though, because like you took the knowledge and you gave them. If someone can follow that stream through this video, Airbnbs are a genius niche right now. Like
Yeah.
it's the hottest sector of investments. Like it's exactly where you can target people who are paying cash, understand money, understand that, like, the money makes sense, they don't care if you go 50,000 over asking. It's just
Yep.
about what do the numbers look like. I love that right there, man. And hey, so I got one more question for you, but I always appreciate you being here. Like I always appreciate you stepping up. It's not just here, it's everywhere that you go. You're always in a place where you are leading with service, and you are leading with just one thing in mind, is how can I help somebody else? And that's a beautiful thing, man. I want to really celebrate you because you're at the forefront of that, of everybody I've been around, and I appreciate you myself, and I also see the impact of everybody else that you've helped, and I want to make sure you know that.
Thank you.
You got it, brother. So as we wrap up, a question for all of my partners, just out of curiosity, is what was the biggest problem that you were experiencing before you came to EXP, and then what did EXP do to solve it?
Oh man, that's a great one. All right. Well, he told me to prepare to do 0 to 100. So I wasn't prepared for that question. But here's what I'll tell you. For me, I was in a pretty unique spot because when EXP came to me, I was super happy. My team, my goal was, I built my business and I built a team that I could step out of and still run. So I became the CEO of my business. And I had accomplished that. Right at that spot, I was completely out of production. It was our best year in business. We did 1.2 million in gross commission income. I crossed the coveted millionaire real estate mark, and sold 1 million. And I was kind of like trying to figure out what's next, and kind of, okay, what was the reason I wanted to step out to do what? And I was working like 2-3 hours a week on the business, on my team, running the team as a well-oiled machine, and I'm making great money. I even went and bought my dream car. I bought a Tesla Model S, top of the line, customized it, colors, everything how I want it. It was a joy to go through that process, and I still have that card, and it's like, I love it. It's amazing. So EXP came to me, and I was like, okay, what is the big deal? Why would I take my business that is working so well into another person's model? Now, mind you, I was my own broker, because I've always been entrepreneurial. So I decided to become my own broker for me, for my team. I wasn't trying to be like a huge broker or anything. And I had no reason to go into somebody else's brokerage, but I realized that I wasn't thinking about everything. Remember, I started very young, so I was young and confident, and I was kind of like, and I've been with EXP now for 4 years. Now, if I were to, not be able to come to the office for 6 months and make that impact that I make on this business, what would happen? And when I started thinking about that, and that was a question that, came because of the EXP model, which encourages you to build multiple pillars and, grow your business in different ways. So I was like, if that were to happen, this thing would just crash and burn, like literally. If nobody's paying attention, if nobody's, pushing that lever, it would literally crash to the ground. And that got me thinking. I was like, what have I built? Like, is this thing sellable? It's like, well, probably not. Like, it has my name on it. It's Carlos German team. Like, what genius figured that out, that every real estate team should have the person's name? I would probably change it to a different name. Because my name is not sellable. Like, even my team as it is, without me, I don't know who would want to buy it, because of what I've just told you. Like, without me knowing all the pieces of that puzzle and running it, will it be sustainable? So I realized I had something. It was kind of just like a bigger job, right? It was not really a true business. So then I realized I had more growth to do and experience in the real estate business, and I have more to build. And I also realized that this is going to happen to my agents too. They're going to go 10 years down the road, and they're going to realize that they haven't built anything for them and for their families. Like, what if I pass away? Like, what's there for my son, for my wife? Are they going to run the business, or are they literally going to be saying, yeah, he wasted his life building that thing that we can't do anything with now, right? So with those questions, I decided to be open-minded about EXP, do my homework, talk to my agents and see what they thought about it. Yep. And when I did that due diligence, I realized that I was losing nothing, because actually it was pretty much free for me to be in EXP. And actually EXP would pay me to be there pretty much. And I was like, okay, well, this is a no-brainer. I can always go back and do what I was doing. But now I get to leverage this platform. I'm building an asset via the stocks. And I'm building another pillar of my business where I can partner with people like you, James, and other amazing leaders that we can grow together. We can change lives together. We can literally, build this thing with a powerful, solid foundation together. And it became a no-brainer at that point.
I love it, man. I love it. And that's spot on. The alignment where your heart loves to serve, and all of a sudden you have a way of doing that and creating a better future for your family at the same time.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing, man. Well, hey, Lori, I see you commented there. Cello, I don't know if you're still on there, but yeah, baby, boom, baby. Carlos, you got something we got to leave these guys off on?
Yeah, always be a great student. I think like my key to growth in every area, and you will have every area. Like, we're talking about the first breakthrough here, which is, hey, how do you get to those 100K, the coveted 100K mark, right? But, even after I got to that level, I needed more breakthroughs along the way. And I got every breakthrough because I was a great student. Okay. And being a great student means realizing that you can't be the smartest kid in class.
Yep.
But you got to be surrounded by the smartest kids. You got to be around people that are doing what you want to do, and even bigger than that, and that's really the name of the game in any growth journey. You can get there faster if you're surrounded by people that have done or are doing what you are trying to do. Period. The end. Yeah, you'll get there no matter what. If you've got the work ethic and the hustle, you'll bump yourself enough against the wall that you'll realize where to go. Sure, but why? Like, why would you do that? Like, why not? It's like if somebody gave you a key to unlock an apartment in a building, 100-story building with thousands of units, and they told you, there's $1 million in GCI, in gross commission income, in one of those apartments. All you got to do is find the one, and it's yours. You get to keep all the money, and yeah, I mean, you could find it if you just go like crazy and you start opening doors and going up and down the stairs, and it may take you 10 years, but you could find it. Or you could talk to James and I, and say, man, have you heard of this game, the key and the apartment? So, dude, yeah, we did that. And go fourth floor, 3 units to the right, the green door, the money's there.
100%.
Like, really? That's it? Yeah, that's it. So just think about that. We're here to tell you which floor, which hallway, which door has your not 100K, but 1 million in GCI, because that's what we're doing and even more.
Yep.
So if you want to get to those levels, don't reinvent the wheel and follow proven models.
I got nothing more to add. Carlos, thank you again. I appreciate you being here, joining on. And I mean, I've got 2 or 3 pages worth of notes here, and I hope everybody watching had their pen out because you really broke it down for them. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Appreciate you. Super proud of everything that you're doing to add value to people's lives. Thank you for having it and having me, and keep crushing it, brother.
Hell yeah, man. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.